My name is Alison. I'm looking out of my window at the mountains of Scotland, the Campsie Fells, Goat Fell, and towards Ben Lomond. And I'm about 300 yards away from the Clyde River, a river that has sent settlers out all over the world, but also brought people to the land that I stand on, which has been repeatedly settled by many different groups of people from areas we now know as Scandinavia, from Ireland, from parts of the European continent, and where people are making their home now from all over the world. They say there are 88 languages spoken where in the city that I am living in now, so a place of great diversity. And I come from a family of butchers and weavers and makers, and I am honoured and privileged to hold the space and the introductions for us today to our very special speakers who are going to be inviting us to Ujitodani, repair, restore, restitute. They're going to be inviting us to remember that the first thing to do is to accept the story. Accept that it is indeed a colonization history. Only then can we begin to decolonize, and that this will have to be done in 3 stages. What Richard Kistabish calls the 3 R's: reparation, restoration, or restitution. When he calls them reparation, restitution, and restoration, he's doing it in his second colonized language. Répare, restaure, restitution. Réparation, il y a eu des dommages irréparables. Il y a aussi des dommages réparables. Il y a lieu de savoir quel est l'entendu de ces dommages. Pour faire, il nous faut de l'aide. It's a session where we're reaching out to one another for help. And this is the hard work: the acknowledgement, the repair, the restoration, the restitution. It's where we come together to use language, maybe not so much to debate, but to dialogue, a much harder task, and to turn in body and mind and spirit from practices which have harmed and may destroy with ease, and through premeditation or from carelessness. And we come to learn of what may be repairable, what may have been repaired, and how we might repair in work together. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to 2 people, and I'm just going to use their first names because they will introduce themselves in particular the way they wish to be known to you and in the traditions that are their own and are those of their comfort and of their language. But people who I'm coming to call friends, Richard and Caroline, who are coming to us today from a land that we call Canada, but which has many other names. And again, we will hear of these names and learn of these names as we come into conversation. Caroline and Richard, the last few weeks of meeting you have been such a pleasure, with so much shared mischief. And I know that I am looking forward to hearing your stories and feeling the warmth and lightness come across from your part of the North Atlantic rainforest to my part of the North Atlantic rainforest as we look across the waves towards one another. But as is fitting in such circumstances, and as we move to listen to a great elder and a great survivor, a great storyteller and a great comedian and lover of good things, I would like to invite my colleague Tawana to speak the introduction on the traditional instrument of Zimbabwe, the mbira. Thank you, Tawana. Thank you, Tawana. Richard, it's an absolute delight for me to invite you to come and take the spotlight and to share your stories with us, and to invite everyone as they listen to hear his words, to note and hold some of the words that he says, not least because you'll need them a little bit later on in the breakout rooms. Richard, thank you very much.
Okay, Gregory. Adi Wejian mi muzyka jakiś bymad zjać danishnabimk. Ai kaga jikan ni bigya butskit minakamen. Kakina ya gudiano agijmad zjać madis. Ashidas ngiwe wujutuna nan gijminashik muzyka edi nigan. Anishnabin dejnikazman. Abitibi indi kagni nandeji kemen. Ijinaguzin dejnikazman. Mikagi miniguan nuizo na piskagin taugan. Hekido magandas giji debadzumwana kikag adiga bi jeseag apiskag bin taugagumadis shedeskag bi dejikeagumadis. Great. We say good day, or we say good morning, or there's all kinds of other languages to say welcome or good morning. That's the only word that you use when we met people. Even after we leave them, we don't say that we leave. We stay together now. We make the connection, and that connection will last forever. This is our way of living. We've been occupied this territory for the past 9,000 years. In those times, we knew to develop our knowledge about this land. And some people call it science. Some other people said it's a natural way to know things. It is also a way to be equal, not to dominate, but to live with them, to follow the cycles as the rest of the living things on the territory. That is the most important thing to know. It's to follow the cycle of life. Today is the birthday of one of my colleagues, but it's only the start of another cycle. It's very important to remind people about this, to repeat the good things that happen and not to forget the bad things that happen. That's the way that we've been surviving in this territory, by doing those simple things. Very simple. You observe, you learn, and you do it. That's the origin of life. That's the origin of perfections. You know, we have stories about the arrival on this land of the people, strange people. We say strange because we had a hard time to figure out why they're living like that. And some of those late arrivals identify us as unnormal people with great gifts. And by learning their language, the French, the English, the Spanish, the Italian, I found out they have a mother of their language. So our elders, they told us stories to us by saying that because they see a new world on this territory, they didn't know how to describe our living, how to describe the way that we behave. They don't have any words for that. So the only thing that one guy find out, and this guy was a very bad guy, a criminal. He didn't know how to write. He doesn't know how to speak very well his own language. So he told everybody that we were los indios. That's the Latin word for me. I presume that was a Latin word. And the meaning of los indios is children of God, les enfants de Dieu. So we were perfect. We were absolutely perfect because we belong to this territory the same way as the tree belong to the territory, the same way all the animals belong to this territory. So it was a perfection. The creation was perfect. So we were living in a perfection. But the arrival disturbed everything of it. Everything. I always think that was because of the language that they use. Instead of learning our language, they use their own language. Oh, the language itself, English or French or Italian, they are nice languages when they are used in a good way. They're absolutely beautiful. But sometimes it can be used in a bad way. That's when the colonization started to dominate the things, the life, the people, the animals, to dominate, to introduce a new concept that was unknown to us. We didn't understand that way. We didn't understand that concept because they're forgetting about the fundamental things, fundamental to life, fundamental to people. The right of freedom, the right to be who we are. So they're starting to take away pieces by pieces some of the portions that make us good people. They wanted to achieve the cleanup, they say, of the territory. They want to get rid of us by any means that they could use. So we lost gradually few things, most important things on the way. We lost our freedom, which is essential to any human being to have in order for him to remain and to retain his identity, his dignity. It is important to remind people about that. So the Declaration of the UN on the Aboriginal people, it's an a small step towards to the restoration, to repair, and to restitution. It is very important that we have to attain the consciousness of people of that situation, the consciousness of every people in this country has to be awakened in order to start this job of this work of to put back the things that we have been lost since the beginning of the arrival. La colonisation est une façon de faire disparaître les règles fondamentales de l'identité humaine, de l'identité d'un peuple. Les activités qui se sont déroulées à partir de cette proclamation-là de la colonisation est ce qu'on appelle la dépossession territoriale. C'est un long processus, la dépossession territoriale. Il y a le facteur physique, il y a le facteur psychologique, il y a aussi le facteur spirituel, puis il y a la valeur aussi, le secteur de l'économie qui va avec. Toutes ces actions-là et ces activités-là et cette politique-là nous a amenés à des impacts absolument désastreux dans notre façon de vivre aujourd'hui. Nous en subissons encore les conséquences de tout ça. Ça nous a privés de notre liberté fondamentale au droit de garder notre identité, au droit de garder notre langue, notre culture, nos arts et nos institutions, notre spiritualité aussi. C'est une abominable question que de faire de ces choses-là à un peuple. Dans tous les pays du monde, il y a eu différentes façons de procéder à ce processus que j'appelle, moi, la dépossession territoriale. Ils ont créé des environnements qui sont complètement inhabituels à tous ces gens qui habitaient ces territoires-là. Je ne fais que penser à l'Afrique, aux Méditerranée, à toutes ces places-là dans lesquelles les supposés empires qui dominaient la planète ont pratiqué des choses abominables sur des peuples. Abominables. Et moi, j'ai vécu cette partie-là. Quand j'étais enfant, mes parents étaient encore nomades. Nous étions encore en canot, en rame, en raquette. Nous parcourions le territoire encore de la même manière que nos ancêtres, il y a 9000 ans, ont parcouru. On a amélioré des grandes parties de notre déplacement, de notre transport, de notre façon de vie. Nous avons acquis énormément de connaissances sur ce territoire-là avec la participation de tous les animaux, de tous les plantes, de tous les arbres, de tous les oiseaux, de tous les animaux qui nagent, les poissons. Nous avons appris beaucoup de choses et nous les avons introduits dans notre façon de faire. Et nous sommes devenus forts et nous sommes devenus des gens qui étaient et qui sont très résilients. Les impacts négatifs de la colonisation ont créé des désastres absolument épouvantables chez nous. La perte des responsabilités, la perte des obligations et de nos devoirs ont créé en fait que notre société, nos sociétés sont devenues tellement inaptes à pouvoir produire et à se développer. Nous avons besoin d'aide. Nous avons besoin de collaboration. Nous avons besoin des partenaires. Nous avons besoin aussi d'étendre nos voix en dehors de ce territoire-là. Nous devons le faire dans un contexte planétaire pour y arriver. Mais pas seulement nous, les Anishinaabe, en Abitibi, mais pour tous les peuples qui ont vécu ce genre de situation-là. C'est très pénible de constater les dégâts et les impacts dévastateurs qui se sont produits dans nos communautés. Pour ce faire, il y a des étapes qu'il faut instituer, qu'il faut travailler, des contextes dans lesquels on doit travailler. L'histoire que je viens de vous conter fait partie de ce processus-là. Il faut reconnaître cette histoire-là, il faut l'accepter, puis il faut l'admettre, puis surtout, il faut l'enseigner dans les écoles, dans toutes les écoles, pas seulement que pays ici, mais dans toutes les écoles du monde. Il est nécessaire de réparer. C'est une des choses les plus importantes qu'on a à faire, c'est de réparer les dommages qu'il y a. C'est immense la réparation qu'il y a à faire. Mais ma philosophie à moi et la philosophie que Ménachine a accepté de faire, c'est de faire ça beau et petit que gros et laid. Faire des petites choses, mais qui sont belles. Ménachine veut dire beau. Ménachine veut dire beauté. Mais Ménachine veut dire aussi beaucoup de travail à faire. C'est pas juste en regardant dans le miroir puis qu'on se trouve beau que c'est beau. Moi, je me dis ça tous les matins que je suis beau, alors c'est sûr que je suis beau. J'ai aucun doute là-dessus. Mais c'est ça les réparations. Il faut croire en nous qu'on est beau. Puis à ce moment-là, on va faire des choses encore plus beaux lorsqu'on se réveille le matin puis qu'on s'en va travailler. Ou quand on va aller jouer. Ou quand on va aller au camp. Quand on va faire des choses, n'importe quelle chose, on va le faire pour qu'il soit beau. Et ça, c'est une responsabilité qui nous revient à nous, à chaque individu. Mais aussi, ce sont des responsabilités qu'il faut confier aux tiers, aux partenaires qu'on veut bien avoir, aux autorités, au gouvernement aussi, de faire ça. On va séparer les rôles qu'on a à faire dans la réparation. Nous allons séparer c'est quoi, qui est responsable de qui et de quoi, quelles sont les obligations, quelles sont nos obligations, quelles sont les obligations des autres par rapport à la réparation, puis quels sont les devoirs que nous devons faire, nous, en premier, puis que les autres doivent faire aussi. Quand je prononçais des discours dans différents événements, on me pose toujours la question, qu'est-ce que je peux faire pour contribuer? Je pense qu'une des premières choses, c'est justement de prendre conscience de ces choses-là qui sont importantes dans la vie de tous les jours. La responsabilité, les obligations, puis tes devoirs. Je reviens toujours à cette thématique-là, moi, dans ma vie, parce que j'ai été privé de tout ça. Il y a bien des choses dans ma vie que j'ai faites que je me dis, bof, c'est pas de ma faute. c'est à cause du pensionnat, c'est à cause du gouvernement, c'est à cause des autres. Mais je ne suis pas responsable de rien. On m'a appris à dire ça, on m'a appris à faire ça dans les pensionnats. Juste une petite parenthèse que je venais ouvrir. Les pensionnats indiens au Canada, c'est la chose la plus ignoble qu'un gouvernement peut faire à un peuple. Enlever les enfants de leurs parents, les priver de tout contact. C'est abominable comme geste, comme action. Ils ont appelé ça dans certains documents d'archives que c'était le Termination Act. C'est la raison de la fin. C'est le but, c'est la fin. Dans d'autres pays colonisés ailleurs, je comprends que au lieu de procéder de cette manière-là, tout simplement qu'ils ont fait des génocides. Ils ont tué du monde à coups de fusil, à coups de sabre, à coups de... Ils les ont simplement que détruits, tués. Ils ont commis des meurtres, des crimes contre l'humanité. Et je peux vous dire sans gêne que les pensionnats est un crime contre l'humanité aussi. Dans la réparation, il y a une suite à ça. La suite, c'est une fois qu'on a essayé de clarifier un peu les devoirs et les responsabilités de tous et chacun, il est important de commencer à mettre en place des institutions dans lesquelles on aurait un plein contrôle de ces institutions-là. Il est absolument essentiel qu'on reprenne ces restaurations-là. Nous avions un système qui nous permettait de vivre harmonieusement sur notre territoire. Nous avions la connaissance, nous avions développé ça, mais aussi nous avions le moyen et la capacité de transmettre ces informations-là à nos enfants. Nous étions en mesure de pouvoir le faire de façon respectueuse et harmonieuse et de pouvoir préserver nos responsabilités, mais aussi nos obligations envers nos enfants. Les devoirs se font de transmettre à un moment donné les choses que chaque personne doit accomplir pour maintenir cette harmonie de l'occupation territoriale. Évidemment, restaurer les institutions, c'est un peu ardu, c'est un peu compliqué, mais c'est une nécessité. Remettre les affaires en place qui ont été détruites nous oblige à retourner dans nos mémoires, dans notre mémoire. Il y a eu beaucoup d'efforts qui ont été employés par les gouvernements pour effacer ces mémoires-là. Alors, en ayant effacé ces mémoires-là, mon travail à moi consiste à convaincre le monde que c'est une des manières de pouvoir le faire, c'est de restaurer ces affaires-là, de restaurer notre façon de faire. C'est de s'acquérir de la liberté pour qu'on puisse produire et établir des choses qui sont dominantes dans notre survie. Et à la fin de tout, il y a la récupération de notre patrimoine, la restitution. Il y a beaucoup de choses de matériel qui sont en Angleterre actuellement, qui vous ont été données parce que nous étions un bon peuple. On voulait qu'on se souvienne de nous comme des gens honnêtes, des bons Indiens, si vous voulez. Et on les a remis à ces gens-là pour qu'ils se souviennent de nous. Ce serait intéressant de pouvoir les récupérer, mais ce n'est pas une nécessité absolue dans les médias. Et on peut utiliser la technologie actuellement pour le faire. Prendre des photos, mettons. Puis ces objets-là, ce patrimoine-là, va nous donner un guide pour la récupération de notre langue. Des mots qu'on n'utilise plus aujourd'hui à cause de la disparition de ces pièces de patrimoine. Puis, une des choses qu'on a besoin aussi par rapport à la restitution, c'est de ne pas avoir peur. Vous avez des mots qui sont épeurants des fois, mais ce sont des mots justes. Au Canada, on a créé ce que moi j'appelle le syndrome que derrière chaque arbre, il y a un Indien, un méchant Indien qui est là. Ça crée une peur, une espèce de paranoïa sociale que j'appelle, moi, là. Encore aujourd'hui, on est témoin de ça. Une petite anecdote qui nous est arrivée ici, lorsque j'ai retourné à l'université pour aller étudier, ça a été que l'Université du Québec en Abitibi-Témiscamingue avait construit un pavillon des Premières Nations, un pavillon, un secteur pour les Indiens. Or, la majorité des Indiens qui sont venus venaient du Nord. Ils venaient des Cris. Puis quand ces Indiens-là sont arrivés en ville, ils sont arrivés en ville avec leur famille. Puis les familles sont quand même nombreuses. Moi, je suis d'une famille qui a eu 10 enfants. Je suis venu au monde en 1948. Puis j'étais le plus vieux. Donc, il y en a eu à chaque année un enfant. Fait que ces familles-là, ils ont continué cette tendance-là. La démographie des Premières Nations a toujours été stable et puis a toujours monté. Alors, les familles qui ont déménagé en ville, ils ont amené leurs enfants avec eux autres, des adolescents. Ces adolescents-là qui ont 14-15 ans, ils sont très grands, mais aussi ils sont très gros. Ils sont comme moi à peu près. Moi, je suis assez gros, moi. Puis, quand tu vois ces enfants-là, ils sont tous habillés en noir avec le capuchon, puis qui se tiennent une vingtaine sur le bord d'une rue. La majorité des personnes qui vivaient à Val-d'Or, ils changeaient de rue pour ne pas marcher devant eux autres. Comme si ils allaient les battre ou je ne sais pas quoi. C'est comme ça que je l'avais décrit. J'avais observé cette situation-là, cette manie-là des personnes. Puis on crée une tendance aussi qui est absolument incroyable dans la population. On peut être seulement qu'une dizaine d'Indiens, puis le monde va nous voir comme si nous étions 1000 dans le regroupement. Tout regroupement d'Indiens, c'est dangereux. C'est vrai. On fait des barrages. On est à peu près une vingtaine. On bloque les trains. On est à peu près une trentaine. On bloque le tuyau de la pipeline. On est à peu près une cinquantaine. Mais à tous ces endroits-là, on est des milliers d'Indiens. C'est la description erronée et calomnieuse que je dirais de ces reportages-là. Pour la démarche de toute cette décolonisation-là, il est absolument essentiel qu'on ait de l'aide. C'est la première chose. C'est une des choses qu'on a besoin. Nous n'avons absolument pas ce genre d'habilité-là et de connaissances-là et de capacité pour faire ce travail immense. C'est vraiment gros. Et ma langue à moi, Danishinaabe-Benouin, il est en phase de disparition. il est en phase de disparaître. Il est en phase de ne pas pouvoir survivre. Et je pense qu'avec la technologie d'aujourd'hui, ça devient possible de ralentir le processus à tout le moins. On peut au moins ralentir le processus, mais aussi ça pourrait nous donner un coup de main pour la revitaliser, pour la redévelopper, puis pour la remettre en force. Il y a toutes sortes de lois qui ont été créées pour pouvoir faire ça. Mais je me demande, et on se demande, on est toujours quand même méfiant des fois sur les capacités de financement de ces gouvernements-là. Sauf que, dernièrement, à cause de la pandémie, il y a eu beaucoup d'argent qui ont sorti au pays. J'ai considéré ça, moi, dans un article que j'ai écrit, soudainement, comme ça, just like that. Le Canada est devenu une grosse réserve. Tout le monde a le droit d'avoir de l'argent. Tous les gens ont le droit de recevoir de l'argent sans travailler. OK? Il n'y a plus de magasins, il n'y a plus de restaurants, il n'y a plus de bars. Pareil comme dans une réserve. Pareil. Mais l'argent rentre. Tout l'argent rentre. C'est incroyable. Les capacités de ce gouvernement de trouver de l'argent quand c'est nécessaire. J'en reviens pas. J'en reviens pas, tout simplement pas. Mais c'était aussi réjouissant pour moi de voir ça parce que je me dis, eh bien, s'ils sont capables de donner de l'argent à tout le monde, même pour ceux qui ne travaillent pas, on devrait peut-être être en mesure de pouvoir avoir des sous pour mettre de l'ordre dans nos communautés, pour nous aider à réparer, pour nous aider à restaurer, puis à nous aider à la restitution. Quand on fait ce genre de travail-là, ce n'est pas donné à tout le monde. There is an opportunity for everyone to give us a good hand on these processes of decolonization, revitalization of our language. It is important to have access to the people who knows how to use some of the principle of restoration and restitution by using, by any means, all the technology that we needed to do the job. It's not very complicated to do so, but we are lucky sometimes, especially me. I'm lucky to have passionate people like Caroline, like Marie, like Pascal, We have all those people, they are passionate to our situation. And they are very inspiring people, For us, it's a must to have people like that in our process. I'm going to run out of words to thank people that they are supporting me in this work. Sometimes I think only in Anishinaabe in order to develop some projects, some activities. And it's important to use that language. Sometimes it's not compatible at all with the things that we needed to have. Sometimes it's the opposite means of doing things. It's difficult for those people sometimes to understand our concept, the concept of equality, that the world, the society has been striving to achieve. Equality between men and women. We don't have that issue in our language. We don't have that. We don't have to focus on our energy on that. But we are sometimes, from time to time, very meanful. Us man, native man, we are very mean to our women. Because that's the thing that we learn how to do it in a school, in a system. This inequality that is prevailing out there to dominate the nature, to dominate the natural resources, not to go with it. So we need people that understand this concept. And when you understand this concept, it's so easy for us to work after that. It's too easy to teach after that. It's so easy to learn. We don't have anymore that thing that square us in our mind. It's a freedom that we have. We are searching the words that they are missing in our language. Like Wanaki. Wanaki means, if we translate very well, it means peace. It's making peace. Minawe. Minawe means doing good things. Only good things. These words are not very used anymore in my community. It's sad, but at the same time, I see the long process that I have in front of me to carry on my responsibility, my obligation, and my duty. Kitchimigwich. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, so much for your words, for bringing and speaking a truth with passion, with compassion, with deep knowledge, and in participation with all of the creatures who help you to know what you know. Thank you for your generosity in sharing that with us and speaking. I'm going to let Pete share his illustration so that Richard can take a sip from his glass and we can see what Pete has been producing. So Pete has been with us through this session as a live illustrator, so drawing and sharing images from Richard's talk to us today. And you can see this, and he'll share this as it goes and as we speak more. But there's, you can see the forest, the trees, the rivers, the peace and the equality, and a really rather beautiful depiction, Richard, of your beautiful embroidery on your shirt. And then with the blood dripping from the sign of colonization that we can see right in the middle. As a people, we belong here. As a people, we belong here. Restore our institutions and preserve our knowledge. Richard, thank you so much. I know that Caroline has some films and that you have some resources that you wish to share. So I'm going to invite you to do that now so that we can see some of the resources that you've been using for this work of repair, restoration and restitution, and the ways that you've been using technology to accomplish your part in this particular task. There are so many words in what Richard's been sharing with us that are resonating for me, and it's going to take some time to let them settle. But here we can see, just on the screen now, the first film.
La langue, c'est dire qui nous sommes, d'où on vient, puis ça veut aussi dire où on va aller. On ne fait jamais du surplace avec notre langue, parce que notre langue voyage tantôt dans le temps, tantôt sur le territoire. Anishinaabe, c'est plein de douceur, c'est plein de vie, c'est plein de couleurs, c'est plein de respect. On apprend le nom des choses qui nous entourent. Donc chaque arbre, chaque fleur, chaque morceau vivant ont un nom. Il faut les nommer de temps en temps dans nos rituels, afin de nous rappeler qui nous sommes puis où nous vivons. Avec une certaine dignité regagnée et de la fierté qui refait surface, je suis très fier encore de parler malade. Quand j'essaye d'avoir le mot espoir dans ma langue, je le dis que du mino kajikaknikan. Il faut qu'il fasse beau en avant.
C'est une langue holistique. C'est vraiment la langue de ton âme. Avant de venir dans ce monde, on était un être spirituel avant, puis que le Créateur nous a donné des cadeaux. Puis un des cadeaux, c'est aussi la langue qui fait de nous qui on est en tant qu'Anishinaabe.
Pour moi, c'est ça qui nous identifie, qui nous caractérise. Ça fait partie de notre culture. Mais sans la langue, on n'a pas de culture.
Bras ouverts pour l'autre culture, on les a accueillis. Maintenant, je pense que ce serait bon qu'on fait en sorte que ces langues-là demeurent. Quand tu es fier d'être Anishinaabe, quand tu es fier de parler ta langue, moi, je trouve que ça fait déjà beaucoup.
Thank you so much for sharing those and for the work that Caroline, that you are doing, particularly in supporting Richard in the sharing of his story and of the work he's doing. There are so many rich dimensions to what you've shared with us, Richard. And there you are, Caroline. I'm so pleased you've been able to join us too. And that has just been the most delightful hour that we could have spent with you. And I think there's a number of really clear provocations that you are making to us. You're asking us for help in the work of repairing and restoring and in the work of restitution. And you're asking us to think about how we do that together in the world where we are. And you are asking us to try and find a way towards a shared language and a common task in what we're doing. But you're also challenging us to use language in a different way, in a way that you've found through your survival, through your resilience, through over 9,000 years of work in participation with the land. And it is really clear to me how different your speech is, your languages are, to those that we usually use in United Nations frameworks and conventions and government policies and heritage protocols and milestones and Gantt charts and log frames, all of the paraphernalia that accompanies the protection of heritage. And even that contrast is already a place for us to start and maybe pause and hear the challenge to us. We're going to allow you a chance to have a rest and allow our participants to go into the breakout rooms for the next half hour. And rather than discussing the content of what you have said in academic debate and considering how it might be turned into another set of policy requirements that might be imposed on different peoples, we are suggesting a different approach in the spirit of gift. Because gift has been central to what you have said and to your message, but also to how you have given it. You have given us a great gift of truth today, Richard. And so the breakout rooms will be an opportunity for us to pause and receive the gift, for us to consider who we are in the light of your gift, what our many different roles might be in participation with the creatures and the plants and the trees and the fish of the sea that you have mentioned. And that we might then fashion new gifts so that we are working in the spirit that you have challenged us, and you are working in a spirit that might ralentir le processus, that might slow down the process of loss, but that we might also be able to repair some of the abominable things that have been done, and do that in a spirit that has children at the heart, so that the great abomination done against children in taking them and detaching them from their culture, that there might be a new path that is not that path ever again. And that in that task of choosing our repair, we might call on our languages, our artists, and the beauty in them, as opposed to the things that might be destructive and destroying. And so in that spirit, and as Pete continues to share his amazing illustration here, as maybe the first gift in this session that acknowledges the truth of what you have said to us, Richard, and how you have shared and supported Caroline, I'm going to invite my colleague Tawana to lead us all together in the first instructions for a task of acknowledging and understanding what our roles are and our names are in this work.
Yeah.
And when Tawana has given the instruction, we will then go into breakout rooms with our 3 hosts, and you will have the opportunity to make and discover more that we might offer in the spirit of gift.
Thank you.
Hekani, Richard, Hekani to all in the gathering. Unfortunately, my video is not working.
All right.
I really want to express my gratitude for you holding the space for us in this gathering. I'm someone who has grown up with elders who respected the gathering, and in that spirit, I would really like to thank you and thank everyone who's organized to get us together today, and the words and stories we're sharing, and everyone who's attending. And just thinking of the important guiding words you were giving us about thinking our responsibility. I really love this fact that instead of looking at the losses as being only things that are pleasant to us, we have also lost our responsibility. And so as a gift from my own traditions, I would like to invite everybody to think about names and connection to others and to the land. So I would like everybody to think about this in 4 parts. So the first part is all the names that you are known by. So it might be a name, your formal name that you use. It might be a nickname that your family or friends use. So the names that you are known by. That is the first part of the name. And then the second part of that name is the name that your connections with family bring onto you. So maybe you are called a father, a mother, a sister, an auntie. So all those names. You may also be called a friend. So that goes in there too. That is the second part of the name. And then the third part of the name is how you are known in the wider world. So this may include what you do. So yeah, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a student, maybe you're a carer, maybe you're a gardener, maybe you're a protector. All those things are associated in that third part of the name. And in that third part of the name, please also include the languages that you speak in, or the languages that you hear. And so the final part of the name is then your connection with nature. That's the fourth part that completes the name that we call Mutupo in my tradition. So I think, Richard, thank you so much. I think this will help us think about how we are connected in this effort to try to repair, restore. So I hope that the instruction is clear and helpful. And I'm happy to clarify any questions for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tawana, for your clear instructions. But before jumping into breakout rooms, I would like to suggest one thing, as we will be divided into 3 different rooms facilitated by 3 different facilitators. So I would suggest if you could maybe write these instructions in the chat so everybody can see them before splitting all the participants into different groups. Thank you. And just a note for the participants who haven't attended any of our conference sessions yet. So you will be automatically assigned into a breakout room. So you will have to do almost nothing except a setting to be part of a breakout room. Then we will have around 30 minutes to continue the discussion in separate group. And then we will all reconvene at the end of the session for a few more comments about the discussion in the breakout rooms and for concluding the session. So I'm seeing Tawana's typing, so thank you very much, Tawana. Sorry for pronouncing your name badly. And I think we can start.
Thank you so much, Tawana. The names are just going into the chat and the breakout room. I've been writing mine down as an example, just so as Tawana's writing these into the chat as the instruction. Thanks for that, Francesca. Great idea to put it in the chat. I've been writing mine. I used to be called Pippi at school. That was my nickname. And whenever the bell rang, it was actually called the Pips. And everyone would say, it's Pippi, but the Pips have gone. Oh, no, they haven't. She's still here. But I'm also known as Alison. That's what most people call me. And 3 people in the world are allowed to call me Al. I'm a sister. I'm called Mamino. I'm called Abai. I'm called Auntie. I'm called Friend. I'm also a boss and a gardener and a troublemaker and a teacher and a baker. And I have all kinds of gorgeous connections to the earth, just by way of example. That are to the river that I spoke of, the Clyde, but also to wolves, to gardens, to allotments, to the rowan tree, to the beautiful aconites and snowdrops that have just appeared today in my garden. So that's some of what we mean when we are speaking about what our names and roles are. So we're asking you then to go into breakout rooms just with this thinking. And then in the breakout rooms, you might want to share some of this in the chat, or you might want to share it verbally, unmuting your mic, and start to share that. And from those roles, then moving into thinking from these roles that are your names and your connections to the wider world, what are your responsibilities for repair? What are the things that fall to you to do in this work of reparation and restoration and restitution? Thanks.
Very good.
Thanks very much. And we can go, I think we can go into the breakout rooms now as we click.
Carolyn, I believe that you were in a breakout group since you have not had much chance to speak since we've come back. Please, by all means, let's start with you. Put you on the spot there, but if you're okay too.
I was sure, because I know that we had this exercise to do, that it was quite a nice human moment, and that was exactly what happened. To use human words, so the name of the people has a nice story behind, and so I think that was really great to have a few information from around the world in a few moments, to be open heart with this. And for me, there was a sharing about realize how much my work is connected to me, to my territories, because I work with Richard, and that's made me a spirit on every day of my life, that I have a huge mission to continue together. So, and I was sharing some little word that we carry on, some names too, And I have one of my friends, Anishinaabe, who call me Wabmoko. That's mean the little mother bear, but albinos, because I'm not Anishinaabe. I'm a white people. So I was finding that it was a funny name to have. So that's...
Caroline, merci bien. Thank you so much. And I'm just wondering if I might invite Tawana to come up at this moment, because I think he was facilitating your group. So to also share from the group if what you were doing in that particular breakout room as in a spirit of gift.
Thanks so much, Caroline. Yes, as Caroline has shared, it was really, in such a short space of time, we managed to have a very, very, what felt like a very meaningful connection. The only thing I just want to add is to say that in a practical way, this naming system, we are starting in Zimbabwe to return to it to help us in matters of conservation, because the fourth part of the name, it makes people natural custodians of nature. So some people have, because in the ancestral family names, you have a symbol that belongs to that family. So your symbol might be a lake, your symbol might be a tree or a certain animal. And so by nature, you're a custodian of that part of nature. And so there's some return to that in a practical way. And there's a lot more writing around it from scholars, and looking at how taboos even are helping the conservation efforts. So that's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Tawana, and thank you also to Aya, who is our youngest facilitator, who was just also adding her gift to you, Richard.
This is Sika.
Hi there.
So I happen to be in Tawada's group. I would like to say it was a great session. A lot of people were talking about, like, they were telling much stories about their names, how some have astrological connotation. It really got me thinking real hard, especially the fourth part of the name, where I had to do with the connection with nature. So my name, Sika, to some people, in Ewe, it means gold. And in Twi, that is also one of the local languages in Ghana, it means money. But for the name, to my family, it has a story behind it. And the story actually is that man is worth more than gold. So I began to ask myself, with what Tawada said, that connection with nature, how could I possibly connect my name, Sika, to nature? Then I was like, it clicked, and I was like, okay, so I get to advocate for the environment most of the time through my spoken word performances. And then it clicked that in Ghana, we can't seem to fight galamsey. And galamsey has to do with extracting gold. And in the process of extracting gold, we are destroying water bodies, we are destroying lands. Lands are no longer fertile for people. People can no more farm on their lands, because if we are saying that man is worth more than gold, then truly my name is actually linked to nature, because if we are destroying this same nature, these lands that man would have to make good use of in order to survive, if we are destroying the very existence of this thing, then something is going wrong. And if man is worth more than gold, then it is high time we need to put a stop to the destruction of land, all in the name of getting gold, like minerals and Tawada. I really enjoyed the session, and I'm glad that I have found a connection to nature. That's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, Sika, and thank you, Richard, for opening that space for Sika to find something new in her name and her connection to nature and her role and her work. And I'd like now to move on to Nadensua's group. So Nadensua was facilitating a different group. Nadensua, do you want to unmute or be unmuted and uncamera yourself and bring back some of what came from your group for us?
Yeah, so we started with the naming, and we spoke about, a few of us had a chance to talk about our names and what it meant to us and our connection to nature. Then we realized that everybody is feeling shy, and a lot of them have put their names and meanings in the chat. So we had to quickly move on to connecting what was said by Richard in the main room to our name. So if you mention your name, then you say what you feel Richard did and what you just said, and it connected to us. I started by saying that I believe what Richard said has something to do with the Sankofa effect. Going back and taking our heritage. What does that mean? Does it mean just grabbing our heritage or picking up all the good things in the past that helped us, made us what we are, and running with it into the future, or just jumping into spaces and picking up things? So I started with that, and then I don't know if she's here. I can't see her on the screen. Another person took over, and then our time kind of ran out when we were actually getting into the debate. So I'll say our group found a connection with the river, Densu, and somebody also found a connection with, I think, something with nature, and their names and aunties and nicknames and stuff like that. But mostly we took the Sankofa effect with us.
Yeah, so the Sankofa effect of looking backwards to look forwards into the past, and choosing carefully what you might pick up and how you might pick it up as well. Thank you, Nadensua. Thank you so much. So Sankofa for you, Richard, and a Dinkra symbol from Ghana, and gold from Ghana as a protection of the environment. Gamali, would you like to come up or bring people from your group to share from your session?
Yes, I'll bring up people to share from my group. I'll bring up David. But before that, just to say that I shared this little poem that I wrote a few months ago with the group, which is about my name, Gamali. So I'll just like to share this quickly as a gift to Richard. Gamali na nusianu. Nusianu pa Gamali. My ancestral code of time states that time is. Time is of everything. Time to be coded, time to be decoded, time to be encoded, time to just stay coded. Time code, time code, timing code, and coding time, and coding in time. Time when we cry, time when we cry for time. Time for time out, and coding our cry. Time when we enjoying time in joy. Timing our joy in joy, encoding joy. Time for sadness. When we are sad, to coding nevertheless, encoding being sad. Time to learn, learning to code, coding to learn, encoding all we learn. Time to teach, teaching to code the ancestral code, encoding in an ancestral code. Time to be born, born in time code, coding being birth, encoding birth. Time to work, decoding work to code, working to code, encoding how we work. And on and on and on and on, Gamali Nanusian. So that's my name in code. So, David, can you come up on and share what we did on Google Docs?
Sure. I think in terms of facilitating this workshop, can I just say one of the guys previously had run a workshop breakout session and used Google Docs for a better collaboration so we can collect and capture more of that information. And truthfully, so much information happened in the last couple of minutes that it was really hard to capture it all. Having just heard there from the poetic justice of time, and indeed the name, that name has a lot of meaning, being that it's related to the water, and being that it's related to other elements. A lot of people have these different names, and it's really interesting that I'm not the only one who does this. I say, what does my name mean in a different language? So for me, David is something that's very almost biblical in a sense. That's not really what I attach to, perhaps by choice. I attach to the fact that in Chinese it translates to Dawei, the big warrior, protector, and that is something that I affiliate with. And indeed, it's already been mentioned that it is an astronomical connection where people believe in the stars. And, the Leo, again, is seen as being a protector. So is it a case of, you live your life and these things come out? Or is it a case of actually there's something which you've inherited there, and actually that's helping to shape your life in a certain way, your behaviors for success? And of course, when we're looking at all these different questions, we're asking the same question and we get such a range of results. And I can see that I'm not the only one who thinks about this, not just in my culture, but in other cultures, what that means. And I think when we have an opportunity to identify where we're similar, it's a real opportunity. So for example, I can see one of the persons who identified themselves as working with the Institute of Heritage Research, who also has their Bangladesh name, PP, and their Chinese equivalent, BB, in both languages. I think it's a very cute thing that's very powerful to them. And, it is an affection of love. I have, nicknames for girls, Nini, and there's girls out there who have nicknames for me, Dad, Day. But there it is. It's a very cute and loving thing to do. But that all brings us together in the sense that when we identify ourselves as a mother, a father, a daughter, a teacher, a poet, a musician, I'm a musician, I guess. But it's not really what I do in my 9 to 5, but, just that being able to discover where we overlap, I think can help us bring together and work towards a shared goal, whatever that is. And in this case, we're talking about culture, and it's quite clear that people value their culture. Maybe I don't have as strong a sense of culture as some of the others, okay? But I still have culture. Where I came from, we had shipwrights, we had skills. Where are they now? So it was a great river, to quote Jimmy Nail, but that was long ago. And things sometimes when they're lost, it can be really quite saddening. And I think it just really brings home the message that we need to protect, not just a thing. I protect things all day, every day, in terms of buildings and historianship and custodianship of an asset. But actually, sometimes an asset isn't just a thing. It could be a place, it could be an event, a point of time. When did David Bowie have his first kiss? Where was that? Right? Does anyone know? I don't know. But that is something that is culturally significant as much as, the shipyard's going away. It is.
David, I'm just going to pause you there because I know we're starting to
Unity.
And but it's great you've been able to write all of that and find all these lovely deep connections with what everybody else has been doing and saying and sharing, and just bringing something of the energy of the discussions of our names into this mix. So once again, a couple of people saying who was the initiator of this exercise, and just to say that this is something that Tawana has initiated, Janine, and used in many of his own creative writing workshops and other workshops, and we've used quite a lot in teaching as well, just as a way of developing a thinking about what your role might be in society and what it might be that's yours to work with and yours to repair. So that's a really rich example from you, David. I'm really sorry to say that we are coming up to time, but I do want to invite Richard to come back and speak to us and share if he has some things to say and things he'd like to add, and then we will close with some final music from Tawana after Francesca has given us a few bits of housekeeping. And here we also have Pete's fantastic illustration. We have a wealth of creatures and flowers that he's put up here. I think, Richard, you can see it on your screen, can't you? This lovely cartoon that he's just shared with us as well. So Richard, just over to you from hearing what people have been saying and the names they've been sharing.
We, in my language, we don't, there's no words to say goodbye or and you can say that, you know, when we make connection one time, it is forever. That's all we have to have in mind. Even though if we don't meet together in this life, we will be connecting further ahead for sure. And that's one of the strong belief of my people. It is that they will carry on our spirit in maintaining this relationship. They will never forget. They're going to be my guide from time to time. Not be focused enough to remember, but it's still in our heads. This is why we have an oral language. We don't have any written language. It is oral. So oral means focus. Focus, you people. Remember who you are. And that's the only way to survive in this world. And I'm so privileged today to address my words with the people that are attending this conference. I find myself lucky and privileged because I think it's my name means that. My name is Ijinaguzi. Remember Ijinaguzi? It's so easy to say. Ijinaguzi.
Ijinaguzi.
Ijinaguzi. It's simple. It's music for me. Ijinaguzi. They call me Ijinaguzi when I was born. And it means he is like that. He is looking like that. He is the way he's supposed to be. Ishinaguzi. But when I grew up and I became, what a word to say in my language, an adult, an adulte, they call me Tsekabish. Tsekabish means trickster, a guy who played tricks on people, a guy that is never serious, but say always serious things. It's not easy to accept words when we find a crazy guy telling stories that they are really not crazy. I can understand the ambiguity of that word in other concept. But that's the way I am. That's the way I used to be. Ishinaguzi. Nobody will take that away from me ever again. So, Kitsimigat, Ishinaguzi is to stay, to remember forever. Gregory, merci.
Ejinagusi, thank you for being the way you're supposed to be. And thank you for being Tascaris, for never being serious, but always being serious. Thank you to you for all that you've brought, for the great gifts of today, and for the way that you've opened up pathways for us to think in a different language or in different languages about our role and our many different roles and our name and our many different names and their meanings and the ways that we can connect together to help you and to respond to you in the task that you have laid upon us with great seriousness, but also in a way where I think we can see a role and a place for ourselves in what we're doing. I'm going to thank everybody who's been here, to apologise to those people whose hands have been up and wanted to get in with a question, but we're going to draw this to a close now. And I'm going to, first of all, thank all of the team at UNESCO UK, at Praxis and Changing the Story, and also at Nomad IT, and my colleagues Gamalin, Adensua and Tawana for holding the room and the breakout room. I'm going to hand back to Francesca for a little bit more housekeeping, and then I'm going to invite Tawana to close us in song and in music. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison. I will give this last words to this session by showing Peter's wonderful drawing. So we have talked a lot about language, so please allow me to use my native language for saying grazie. I'm Italian, so thank you, everybody. Grazie mille. Grazie, Richard, for the wonderful talk you gave us and all the inspiring insight you share with us today. I saw a lot of appreciation in the chat, so I think everybody's really happy with the session. Grazie, Alison, for the wonderful sharing today in both sessions. So we really appreciate it. Grazie, Caroline, for helping us in organizing this session and being with us today. And grazie, Taona, Gameli, Densua, for the wonderful facilitation. And grazie at all the participants who really actively contribute to the discussion today, to the Praxis team, UK and C4UNESCO team, and Nomad IT, who is always working behind the scene and is with us every single day. Just a reminder for tomorrow, because again, today was day 4 of our conference, but we are not ending today. So we are continuing tomorrow on Monday and on Tuesday. And tomorrow we are changing the topic a little bit. So tomorrow morning we will be discussing the role of digital technologies in innovating heritage research, policy, and practice. So we have this session from 10 to 12 UK time. I don't know if you're interested, but we will really appreciate if you can join us for continuing the discussion on a slightly different topic. So grazie again, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. And thank you. Sorry, grazie Pete for the wonderful live illustration all over today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Pete. And there's lots of people wanting a copy of your wonderful live illustrations. I can see Caroline and Richard just looking and smiling and nodding at this great skill that you have that you've shared with us.
Thank you. It's a privilege. Thank you.
I'm just going to now invite Tawana to share and close our session and acknowledge Richard in music and in song, because as Richard was saying, sometimes there just aren't the right words for goodbye in a language, and music can stand in the way of all those connections which will always endure.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, everybody at UNESCO UK for organizing this wonderful occasion that we're all part of. And I am now going to celebrate the gathering in my father's language of Ndao, and then I want to celebrate the gathering and send off the energy we've all gathered here and shared with everybody, and also honor Richard in all this, the richness you brought to us. So I will say to the gathering, for us to celebrate each other in spirit, I'll say Hekani, and you can say it in your own heart if you share it with us. For Richard, I'm sitting down, so I'll not be able to do the action, but I will now do the war cry, so that you can lift the energy and carry it with you and share it and spread it where you will be going. Muriko ere uko. Chinovhetuka madhodha ngachivhetuke. Vetu. Vekanyi vatiunganidza vari pasi pemvura. Aiwa. Shinaguzi muriko ere uko. Shinaguzi muriko ere uko. Vekanyi. Chikabish. Chikabish. Muriko ere uko. Vekanyi. And now music. Pakauya vanhu kuzara pasi. Pakauya vanhu kuzara pasi. Midzimu yenyika mambo kuzara pasi. Vachitenda mambo, vachitenda mambo. Ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarirei, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarirei. Oh, iya oh. Ndati dai muri yangu mambo, dai vana vangu mambo, dai muri yangu changamiro. Ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarireiko mambo, ndogarirei.
Thank you, Tawana. Thank you, Tawana. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this lovely afternoon and this beautiful day. And thank you, Richard. May you go well, farewell, and greet all your creatures and plants and trees for us from this side of the Atlantic.
I will.
Thank you. Thank you.